All right, chilling out. Gonna be pretty relaxed for this. I went over, I actually kind of reviewed my strategies since the last top. I'm drinking Pepsi now. I'm probably gonna smoke, so you'll probably hear me cough. I'm on auto mode right now. I'm not doing anything. I think I said something like that in the last video that I might buy, but I'm not selling anything. I'm not going to be trading until I know what is going to happen after the ETF. And one of the reasons is because I'm not an expert, I'm not a financial advisor. Nobody pays me money for financial advice. I would never take money for financial advice. I might take tacos for financial advice. So if someone wants to meet me somewhere and buy tacos, that would be hard to pass up. But, which just brings me to YouTube. I know I'm not really talking about BTC right now. Um, but that just brings me to YouTube. I, I get a lot of these YouTube suggestions, and these are these are crazy YouTubers, right? These are, and I've never heard of them before. Um, my background is I'm a software developer. I was a software developer. When I was a kid, a little kid, like, you know, 12, 15, in those year ranges, 16, 17, 18, 19. About 19, yeah. So from about 12 to 19, I was really influenced heavily by a family member. And this guy was much older than me, and he was a great trader. He was a fantastic trader. He was a famous trader in the city that I live in. He was in the newspapers all the time as the top trader in town. He worked at the top place in town. He made so much money that he went off and became a what's it called, a venture capitalist, right? And we'll stop the story at that. But this guy used to constantly tell me, you need to do this with your money, you need to do that with your money. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. This is, you know, you know, and I forget. I had a in college. I had a economy class, and one of the subjects was the stock market and investing in the stock market. I think it was like a 1 week section of the econ class, right? Some 101 stuff, nothing advanced. And this guy shows up and does my homework for me, right? Just does my homework for me. And I hand it in, and nothing on the list is anything that anybody has ever heard about. And at the end of the semester, we went to see how those stocks were doing. All of the stocks failed except for one, which made up for all of the others, and I still had more profit. And I was just like, "How did you do that?" And he's like, "Well, actually, I expected a couple of them, but you still won." So that wasn't a positive reinforcement for me for stock trading. when the dot-com bubble happened, you got to remember, I was a software developer before the dot-com bubble happened. Well before the dot-com bubble happened, I was a software developer. So when things like the internet came up, I mean, Mosaic came up, right? Uh, God, there were just, I mean, Yahoo was like the number one search engine. It was just, everything was archaic. So many people were still on AOL dial-up. Everybody was on dial-up. I think I was on dial-up for, hmm, no, I had ISDN, but that's just me bragging. But I lost so much in that because I saw it go. I started going. I saw it going up, and I thought to myself, man, this is it. And I had a little bit of stock in some anchor store type stocks, but I just bought a bunch of shit, and it was a lot of money for me at the time. And then it all crashed, and I figured that, when everything was all and over, I had bought like right up at the top, and I stayed away. I got burned. I left my money in the anchors, started looking at the indexes, and left it as just a cost average in thing, right? Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't look at it. Walk away from it. You may never need it, or you need to never think about that money like you need it for a car or something like that, right? And then crypto came along. So my crypto story is fairly simple. A very, very smart guy that worked at a company in the same building as mine was out having a smoke break. So I knew him fairly well. I thought we were pretty good friends. And he offered me 300 Bitcoin for $200. And I told him no. And my reasoning was along the lines of I might need that $200 to buy shoes for my daughter, right? Very family oriented. But then it was like, and life goes on, and you don't think about these things. You put money into a, excuse me, you put money into a 401k, and you go to work. You have your hobbies. You play with your kids. This is turning into a long story. And then 2017 for me came along, and I had known what Bitcoin was, and I had seen it going up in price, and I had taken quite a note when it got to like $200, and then I thought to myself in 2017, well, I've been watching this for a little while, and I pulled out TradingView and I looked at Bitcoin on the chart, and I said, you know what? I'm going to put in 800 bucks. And that's where I started. 800 bucks. And then I cost average in a little bit. So that's been my strategy. And sell at the top. And the first time that I was able to, and the first time that I owned Bitcoin in 2017, when it got to $17,000, I worked in an IS department. I was surrounded by software developers. I figured everybody had Bitcoin. I figured I was late to the party. And I said, okay, guys, it is time to put your stop limits in right now. I like stood up, turned around, everybody had almost everybody's attention. I was like, everybody put in your stop limits on BTC. I put my stop limit in. Boom, it got hit. I walked away. I remembered what my friend growing up told me, and that was you can always buy back in. If you buy something and it keeps going up, you can just wait for a dip and you can buy back in. You can always buy back in. You're not losing money. You haven't lost money. So keeping those words in the back of my mind, I set my stop limit. Boom, it gets hit. Boom. Couple days later, just a couple days later, I'm talking with another software developer. He's like, I bought at 17. And I heard you say, put in your stop limits. And I knew what you were talking about, but I didn't think you were right. I thought it was going to go up forever. And that was the first person that came to me with a Bitcoin regret. And I'll remember it for the rest of my life. Because 80% of that room, 80% of that floor that heard me didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, but this guy did. He knew exactly what I was talking about. He knew exactly what I was talking about. He didn't listen to me. It's been a long story. That's my whole story. Since then, I've been watching the S&P 500 and I've been watching Bitcoin religiously since 2017. I streamed about it occasionally on a different channel, almost the same way that I'm doing it right now. But that's my background. I'm not a professional trader. I'm just a software developer who understands the blockchain technology. When I read a white paper, I've seen so many software proposals that were shit projects that I almost feel like, at 25, 30 years of software development, you read these things and you're like, okay, whatever, dude, good luck. I wish you the best. I'm not saying that your idea is shit. I'm just saying that it's not baked. The concept, you're not bringing across the concept. Even if it's an altcoin, all these altcoins are shit coins. All of these are shit coins. Ethereum is a shit coin. All of these coins are shit coins except for Bitcoin, right? But they should all do something. They should all be useful, right? So that's part of my strategy is buy low, sell high, and trade with a little bit in between. So let's go to Bitcoin. Let's go to the month. And we can see right here where I started screwing around with Bitcoin. All right, so my retrospective covered this. So roughly, I went over the last cycle and what I believe is the beginning of this cycle. And I believe that I don't even think this overlaps. And I'll get to that. But that's a lot to cover, right? So this was March 21, right? And back in February, so right here, I sent one of my friends, Duke, I sent him a message. And that message was all these people are crazy because at the time people were saying Bitcoin's going to crash. And I said, I see us on target for 65K top. And that's what I said to him. I may have said 64. I should look that up and screenshot it because I know right now somebody's saying, no way, you didn't do that. But yeah, that's what happened. So when it got up to here, and it started going down, as soon as it started going down here, and I think it was on the day, right? Do 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 do. There we go. We popped out of this triangle. We had another solid triangle on the, or another, we popped out of the triangle with this candle right here, this guy right here, and I don't know this. Let me, no. Yes. So one, two. So this was it. That's where I sold. And if we look back at this right here, well, one of the things that I didn't have a 20 on back then, a 20 EMA. That's what the blue line is. The blue line is a 20 EMA. We crossed this line right here. We crossed the 50 on the day. And we hadn't really done that in a very long time. That was it. That was my sell signal right there. Clear as day. I didn't sell right when we crossed. I waited a little bit. Now, what happened was something or another, probably right in here on the day, said, oh, well, yeah, right, yeah, right. Look, we got a cross right here. And I'm thinking, shit, because I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, there might be a bounce to catch. So somewhere in here I bought, I think 43, 44, 45. And then we came back up and same thing happened. We crossed underneath this and I got somewhere out of here. I don't see a mark for it, but the exact same thing happened. So that worked out well in a lot of ways. Let's see. Let's go back to the month. So at this point, right, by 55 or 47 at least, we're completely out of Bitcoin and we're out of all the altcoins. We've taken all of that and we've set the cash aside, right, to wait for our bottom. And then we kept a little bit of money to try and trade not Bitcoin, but altcoins in here, right? So that worked. And if you've been paying any attention or you would like to go back I made a buy in here at the low. I think it was my biggest buy. I think it was like 60%, right? I'm fairly sure it was about 60% of what I had from the top up here. So that worked out well for me. I'm not going to lie, in retrospective, what could I have done better? If I'm honest, I could have not traded at all on the downside. Nothing, not even screwing around with altcoins. Because I don't think I made that much, to be honest with you, to looking back over the last year of my quote receipts. I don't know. Because if I had just, so yeah, so that's my retrospective. I've found that I'm gonna keep, part of the thing was we have a new altcoin. I believe that altcoin season is just now starting, so to speak, right? Because altcoins kind of linger on a little bit after BTC. Everybody's really hoping. The traders are still addicted to trading. At the top is really a good time to take a rest, take a break, right? There's a few times that it's a good time to take a break, right? After you know that things are at the top and you've sold out, that's a great time to take a break, right? At the bottom is not a great time to take a break. That's the lesson here is that as it's going down, I need to be really vigilant, right? So I really can't complain. I really can't complain. It's been a long road, so to speak, since 2017. I haven't made Lambo money, right? I'm not paying for a lifestyle. I don't have um, I don't even know what the popular sneakers are, right? And I don't know how much Bitcoin I have either. That's another thing that I realized is that I don't actually, at the moment, I don't actually know how much Bitcoin I have. So, but I wouldn't sell a Satoshi, right? So about, if we look on the monthly chart, right? About 6 months ago, maybe seven, it's been like a week since I actually went through all my videos and was looking at them, but this month we've got 9 days on, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somewhere in here, right? Somewhere in here, this one candle and this two candle, or it may even have been the very, very, very end of the six. But I think it was the one. I put out a video and I said they want your Bitcoin, right? So that was my retrospective. My retrospective was that I could spend a lot less time trading and just go on autopilot and still be very happy with the amount of accumulation of Bitcoin that I'm able to have. I'm trading because I enjoy it is the real problem. And now that we're in and now that I feel like okay, here's the thing. I feel like the amount of trading that I had to do for the amount of dog food and tacos on the way down was a lot. I feel like I had to do a lot of trading for that. Whereas, to be honest with you, these last 3, 4 months, it's just been an autopilot. It's been a buy something, go live your life for a couple weeks, for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then sell it, right? As soon as there's like a good downturn, sell off this, sell off a little bit of this, sell off a little bit of that. If you want tacos, basically. And it's accumulating a lot faster. I mean, it's you're on the month from here down to here, 74%, but I didn't make 74% profit from my small trading account during that time. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's got to make sense. I didn't make 70%. I didn't double my trading account on the way down. It's not like over here where altcoins that I bought down here using the shopping mall, which for anybody under the age of 45, I'm sorry for using the shopping mall analogy. I'm too old to find a better one. But the shopping mall analogy is that you if you're going to open a shopping mall, you want anchor stores. You want big stores that are going to bring the people in. You want a Target on one side and you want a Home Depot on the other side. And in between, you don't care what you fill with, right? You don't care if it's a vape store or if it's a Chinese restaurant. You don't care if it's a left-handed scissor store, right? It's just a filler between your two anchors, and you can and those stores can come and go. They can be weekly rents, they can be monthly rents, they can just come and go. And then your anchor stores are the ones, these are the ones that you want to these are the ones that when they complain, you want to get somebody out to fix it, right? These are the ones that you want to pay attention to, your anchor stores. The ones in the middle, you just want to buy, let them come and go. Don't fall in love with any of your little stores, right? Because it's the anchor stores you want to keep. And that's how you want to do it with the altcoin. So down here, when Bitcoin was at its bottom, and this was when I started to accumulate some of those smaller stores, right? This is when I bought $50 of Shiba Inu or something like that, something stupid to give you an example. And for me, I mean, that's one of the most shittiest of shit coins. We now have Bonk, which I have not. I have a real problem with shit coins. I have a real problem with if you're going to buy this stuff, then maybe you're just not taking trading seriously, and I'm not the person to listen to in the first place. Or you would listen to me, you wouldn't listen to me in the first place. So, yeah. But it's on here because it's a meme coin, and meme coins are always interesting, right? But Shiba Inu's done nothing. So like that's if that small store in between my two big anchor store goes away, I don't care, right? My anchor stores have already made me more in money in rent than this small little Shiba Inu store did, right? So so hopefully that's explaining. I'm buying this stuff, I'm reinvesting it. I'm selling at the top. I'm selling at the bottom. There is no secret to this, right? There's no secret to it whatsoever. When I get to the top, I buy Bitcoin, and then and then I put it away. I buy Bitcoin going down and I put it away. I buy Bitcoin at the bottom and I put that Bitcoin away. And I don't look at it. I treat it like any type of other 401k or stock or long-term stock S&P 500 investment. I don't look at it, right? So that's part of my money mindset. Okay, is I mean, right now well, right now I'm driving a 2012 four-cylinder small car, and I love it. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. You're not going to catch me next to a picture of a Lambo. It's just not going to happen. Um, but you should have some long-term money goals. So one of the reasons why I'm one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up, why I'm just rattling on and giving you what seem like useless details, is because of the ETF. Because back here, no one in traditional finance, no one at uh, is Bears and Stearns still a thing? No one at Merrill Lynch, no one, none of them knew what Bitcoin was back in 2017. Nobody. The fact that it got this high is what made it hit the news. And nobody understood what it was. They thought it was some kind of a prank. They didn't get it. And what's more is the ones that did were like, oh, this is some computer science student's idea of getting back at us after we crashed the market and took everybody's money and made billions of dollars. Um, nobody took it serious here. But here, probably December, November, when you know, right here in 2020, this is when people in the finance world, this is when they probably started looking at it. They started asking questions like, what is this really good for? Why are people buying into this? What value does this really have? Is this something that is this our competitor? Is this something we can use? Is this we don't and even then they didn't understand it. But by the time let's go to the week. By the time we got here, they were already all in. They were already watching this go down. They were already the smart ones, the ones that were getting paid a lot of money to analyze Bitcoin, because they were getting jobs and they were smart guys that were analyzing Bitcoin. They knew that they were looking at quite easily an 80% fall in Bitcoin's price, right? And it was 74%. But they were quite and people and the reason that none of these smart guys that are getting paid a lot of money are out on YouTube talking about this, right? Is because they're getting paid money not to talk on YouTube. They're getting paid money their analysis is not it's not going to get leaked, right? And these are the guys that they watched it. They watched it and they probably called the bottom of Bitcoin before I did. Let me put it that way. And you can go watch the videos and see where and find the ones where I'm like, we might be in the bottom here. I'm not sure, right? Because I started to get a little confident halfway through this. So by the time we had our first jump here, they were buying in. So by the time that this hit 21,000, by the time it came back down to 21,700, they and by who I mean by they is not BlackRock, but people that are either buying on behalf of BlackRock or basically, yes, that's it. People and things that are buying on behalf of BlackRock because they know that BlackRock is going to acquire this probably right around here. So at one point, I put out on a video, and it was the first one that I said that we are entering the smart money phase, and that was right around here. And this is when I believe that they were starting to really try to buy up Bitcoin. And something, we had some pretty normal action here, though, right? But this run up into this 15, and I was looking at this and comparing it to past run ups of 15 on the week, and it wasn't it that 15 run up of that candle. This is my indicator. It's a shitty indicator. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't tell you when to buy and sell. It's not a strategy. A 15 is on the week is really good. I mean, really good. So, yeah. Well, it was all the people front running. This right here, they started quietly buying here, but these are all the traders that came in front running Bitcoin, right? And maybe not all the traders, but I would say maybe, yeah, maybe like during that 20, 22, 25% of price action, these were all people that their whole purpose was to buy and sell Bitcoin. That was it. And they were waiting for the sell the news. And this is absolutely normal, right? And this was expected. Everybody was talking about buy that sell the news. You didn't need me to make a video. Everybody was talking about it. I'm not but this was yeah, this was so I bought somewhere. I can't remember where. I don't even care. I'm not even going to talk about it. I said I was going to buy and I said I wasn't going to sell. I'm on autopilot right now. I'm not going to worry about it. Maybe on the first of the month I will buy more, because I may as well just keep cost averaging in. I've been talking about cost averaging in. Shit, I've got a video back here, right, at like 30K that says, or maybe it was even lower. Maybe it was 23K. Oh, damn, I'd have to go back and look again. Or 24. Somewhere, anyways, I was like, this is it. This is when you start cost averaging in. So now, oh, that's not, we'll start from there. Well, we'll do that to there, to now. That cost averaged in is, let's say, a 68% increase so far. And until we breach 470 and get support above 47K, what did I say, 470? Until we get support above 47K, we are in the smart money. Let me just say that again. Once we get support above 47K, we are no longer in the smart money. So now is when we want to be buying with our cost average in money. Do not YOLO in, do not sell the farm. realize that this is not financial advice, but somebody wrote this on a chart. This is where you buy the smart money in between these ranges, right? And I'm just regurgitating that like a monkey. So, but this is why this is exactly, this was a great call. If I did that here, or even if I did that here, even if I did that up here, right? That's still a great call. Maybe that's what this yellow line is. I don't know. I may never have to go back to that yellow line again. But I think this is a fairly decent trend line. I did expect it to be up here. I expected the bounce to be like this. Now, if you hear anything, if you, I always, I have this weird thing about threes. So here, and maybe you don't see it, and that's okay. But I have a bounce here of one, I have a bounce here of two, I have a bounce here of three, and then we go under, right? Well, we kind of reset. Well, we still haven't had that first bounce. So I'm waiting for that first bounce. Now, the last video, one of the things that I said was I said that, let's go to the day now. So I said that 37K is still in play. All right. 37K is still in play. And this was before the ETF, right? And part of that was from the weekly. Part of that was just the more you think about it, right? Like, where is all this money that's going to come rushing into Bitcoin happened? You know, nobody was sitting at their desk waiting to click on a button at 8 a.m. the day after the ETF is launched or the night, with 15 minutes left. That's just not how these things work. I mean, if you've ever tried to transfer $5,000 or $500, you know that it takes 3 days to a week, and like the longer it is, or the more the amount, the longer it takes. So if they're sitting there, and I got this marked right here, right? This was the price, 8 a.m. right here, the day after the Bitcoin ETF was announced. That yellow line right there is 8 a.m. And then da da da, because everybody who bought coming up here, oops, I don't know what that yellow line is, but I do want to keep it in the same spot. All the people that have been buying since down here, they sold. And that includes the grayscale ETF boys, or no, the grayscale, the GBTC guys, right? The GBCP, the people. Hmm. Let's go back to the weekly. I kid you not, guys. A lot of the people that bought into GBTC, they bought in back here when there was a 40% discount against the price of Bitcoin. It was trading 40% lower than the price of Bitcoin. Go look that up. Don't trust me. Don't misunderstand what that number means. But guess 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 when? Guess when it hit no more discount. Surprise, surprise. So, okay, this isn't too bad of a scale here, right? So if it takes you 10 business days, and I'm not kidding you, if it takes you 10 business days to move any kind of large sum into an ETF account. Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that money from? Well, you got it from another account that had 10, and they're not gonna, if you've got to sell, they're not gonna give you that cash until like 10 days later, right? So you're looking at a possibility of 20 business days, which is almost a whole month. Now, is that really going to impact the price? I think it already has. I think all the tomfoolery is already, I think that we can go back. The reason that I'm on autopilot is because if there's any tomfoolery, I want to be in my position, whether good or bad, and just be done with it. Because my plan has nothing to do with these weeks or these months. My plan, and I have to revise my number. So the number that I've been working with is 185. Let's move this over here. So from here, the number that I've been working with is 185. That's still that's still BTC will be 327%. We talked about your first cost average in, you would have already made 60%. If you would have bought even lower, you'd be at something like 120, 110%, right? You would have doubled your money plus if you had bought in at the bottom of Bitcoin. If you had paid attention and just on the weekly, whatever, I don't care. I, the reason I'm not streaming every day with some crazy stupid headline is because I don't think the market moves that fast, that you need this all the time. And I don't think that Gary Gensler or Jamie Dimon or Elizabeth Warren has that much say on what happens to Bitcoin, to be honest. I just don't think, I think their irrelevance is part of their frustration and anger at Bitcoin. Bitcoin reminds them that they are small in the universe, right? Bitcoin reminds everyone that they are small in the universe. Just think about Satoshis. Pause the video, go to Google, and look up how many Satoshis are in one BTC. Okay, mind blown. Now, why are we talking about units of Bitcoin? If you have one, if you have two Bitcoin, I'm not telling you to stop, but I'm telling you if your long-term plan is still more than 10 or 15 years out, you're done. Hold on to it. Keep custody of it. Don't put it into cash and then buy into an ETF that will only give you cash back, right? So that's all I'm saying. So So I don't care what happens down here. What happens down here is very significant, and it's going to take time. It's going to take space and time to get to 185. No, wait a minute, wait a minute. That's way too. That's not a prediction of April of 25, but that's just to give you a visual idea that we're going to get there, but we're not going to get there next week. We're not going to get there in 2 weeks, right? Where do I see us at the end of 2024? We just started 2024. We should we should break the 64K high uh, August. Before August, we should break 100K, or we should break the 64K before August. After that, I'm not real sure. But the halving is another hyped item, right? And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but the halving doesn't happen and then the next day Bitcoin price skyrockets. It takes a while for demand to catch up to the process of it happening. There's a lag there in supply and demand that's going to happen, right? And we've had a lot of hype about ETFs, so the average person doesn't care about the halving anyway. But all these Bitcoin channels are going to be like, oh, the ETF, everything's going to go to the moon. Everything's the people that said it wasn't going to the moon probably don't have a course for you to buy, right? So the last video I said 37K is in play. On the week, 37K is still in play. You're looking at exactly the same thing that I'm looking at. You don't have to have this trend line. I'm using this trend line. It's been helpful for me to have these in the past. Not all support and resistance is horizontal, right? And that's what is this is a diagonal trend line for me. Um, and it's going to deviate heavy from this trend line. And when it does, watch out, right? But we could, I love channels. Another way to represent this would be a channel, a very, very long, very, very tradable channel, which I don't think we're going to hit the bottom of this again, but I still think that 37 is easily in play. And we've had some good action, so we need some sideways action, right? All this hype and everything, none of this changes anything for me because we're still looking at 217 days of what is essentially a channel right here, and that wasn't so many weeks ago. And there is no reason why we can't be forming a channel just like that right now. All that I'm saying is that these things take time, right? And if we look at, I, I'm not hiding anything. If we look here, right, what does this RSI tell us? Well, it tells us that we're going down, right? It tells us that we should expect at least a couple more weeks of a real possibility that it's going down. I would say an 80% chance that it's going down versus a 90% chance that it's going down versus that it's going to turn around, right? I mean, on the week. So keep that in mind. That pessimism is real. That's there. And our MACD has crossed on the week. It's crossing right now. And if it and it's either going to intertwine or it's going to drop and go down. And if it intertwines, then it's going to be sideways. That's all this interaction is here, is our MACD intertwining together with the MACD and the signal, right? So, yeah, even our histogram is saying, hey, prepare for next week to be a real possible red histogram down. So, good luck. I have bought in. I'm not going to sell. I'm going to wait. I think that 37K and maybe even I take that back. Maybe even that was a couple weeks ago. We're not dropping as fast as I thought we would, but 38K is still easy. And what I'm looking for, believe it or not, is I'm looking for a bounce off of this blue line. It doesn't have to be three bounces. It could just be one bounce. I'd be happy with one bounce. I'd be happy with a little bounce like this, right? Because if I do a little bounce like this, then we drop beneath that line. Well, that'll be a good time for me to take profit up here. Maybe I should extend this line a little bit. I don't like extending lines because I'm unhappy with the way I extend it a lot of times, but I think that's fairly good, right? So yeah, so right. And then, okay, so I'm not going to say like I'm an expert TD sequential trader or anything like that, but TD sequential is the indicator that I sort of learned on, so to speak, when I was a young kid. That's something like this was exactly what my friend used that was a successful trader. And there are rules to this. And like one of the rules is that once you have a 9 candle up, you're looking at 13 candles until you get a reset, right? That means that you're not going to see another 9 candles up until you see 13 candles. Well, I'm a little fuzzy on that rule and I haven't followed that but for a very, very long time. But that would mean that one, two, three, four, we're 12 candles into that right now. The 9 candle becomes the one of the 13. The way that I've normally seen it is that it counts down and then you're ready for a reset. So it's very possible that we could see 1 week down, another week down, and then we reset according to the TD sequential, right? And then there's other things, but I wouldn't buy anything right now, not BTC wise. Okay, so another thing that I did pick up during my retrospective was I needed to do more stuff on the 4 hour, right? I need to do more stuff on the 4 hour. One is because when I'm looking at trades, that 4 hour is giving me a much better dip indicator than anything else, right? So I still want the dips on the day, but the 4 hour is giving me a better indication that that dip is coming up on the day. I want to do that, right? Because when we get down, and I'm not saying we're going to get down here, so but we could. Well, we just tapped 40.5K. Is 39.3K that out of line? To be honest with you, 35.3 is not. So 35.3 thousand is real possible. I think that 37 is the possibility of 37. I think it goes away with time. So maybe I won't say that very soon. Maybe I won't say that again. But I think the 37K goes away with time for me. I think that back here was, let's go back to the week, right? Well, shucks. Let's go back to the month. This is when I said in July, I said they want your Bitcoin. Don't sell it unless you're trading. And if you're trading, you shouldn't be buying and selling all of your Bitcoin at once anyway. That would be insane, right? But back here, I said this is the smart money phase, that we are entering into the smart money phase. So we are coming out of the smart money phase. For me, I'm going to repeat this again. For me, it makes more sense to dump as much as I can afford to lose. Let me repeat that. As much as I can afford to lose. I still need to buy food. I still need to get oil changes. If I get 4 flat tires, I still need to buy 4 flat tires, right? All of these things, if I get vet bills, right? All of these things I still need to have the cash for. But if I have money that I can afford to lose, the smart money phase was the phase to dump all that in until we gain support above 47. We are still in the smart money phase. So keep that in mind. These are the things that I'm talking about over the long term. All right, altcoins. Let's talk about altcoins, and I will give you not 4 altcoins that I'm going to buy. Right now, every altcoin that I've bought, it's a long story. I didn't have stop limits. That's the long story, is I didn't have stop limits. My whole trading account is it's very small right now. I just took profit. I just pulled the things out not too long ago. I was building it up. So everything that I'm in right now, I'm stuck in. I believe it's like 12 to 20%. All of the coins that I'm stuck in right now are at 12 to 20% of a loss. And I'm not going to go into how I got stuck in there. You don't want to be where I'm at. You want to set stop limits. You want to set stop limits. You don't want to be in this position. I'm not going to sweat it because I'm busy. And I know that while there's well, let's look, right? Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That there are 5 shit coins that I'm in. So I have 5 tiny little stores in my strip mall. And if all 5 of those pack up tomorrow, I won't miss it because I have my BTC and I have my Ethereum. So I'm just going to let them get by rent free and kick them out as soon as somebody comes along that's a better performer. So let me show you what I have been looking at. And I have been looking at where is oh wait, don't tell me it's already taken off. These are the coins that I'm looking at right now. SEI, I am waiting for that one to bottom. I'm also waiting for AIT to bottom. And UMA. I'm waiting for that to bottom. So let's take a look on the 4-hour to show you what I mean. UMA does not want to bottom, and so far it is not even touching the 20 EMA. That pisses me off. But SE is on its second run down by my sequential indicator, right? And this could be very close to a buy on the 4-hour. That doesn't mean that it's going to go up, but this would be a but I'm waiting for a dip on the 4 hour right now on SEI. Let me put it that way. AIT. I'm waiting for, well, here we go. Someone's gonna look at this and go, "Oh, that's the shittiest triangle I've ever seen." I'm waiting to see if we get a pump on this, right? And oh, part of my retro was I need to start using the 20 EMA a lot more. There we go. That was another thing. Um, so I'm waiting to see if we pass this 20 EMA to buy into this AIT. And the triangle here, no matter how you laugh at it or what you want to say about it, I know it is laughable, but it doesn't change much. This is the 4 hour. It was actually put on at a different time level, but I'm willing to do this now. So yeah, so I'm waiting for this to bounce here and see if there's a bounce. And this green candle, this little green candle, this is not enough for me. And the reason it's not enough is because every indicator besides this triangle is telling me to buy. The triangle is just telling me, hey, based on the laws of triangles, maybe it's going to stay in the triangle. It's like a cat with a square taped box on the floor, right? They're going to stand inside the square tape. Maybe the price range will do the same thing. To me, it's a bit superstitious, but I like it and it's visually appealing. So for me, it works. But all my indicators are saying, nope, not yet. My MACD on the 4 hour is saying, maybe you ought to wait. RSI is telling me, yeah, you should probably wait. So I'm wanting to see this drop. And there's a good chance. That's the thing about triangles, right? People will go, oh, ascending triangle, descending triangle, ascending triangle. You start drawing enough triangles, man, and you're going to have triangles that do exactly the opposite of what you think they're going to do. And the way that I handle that in my old age is I take a trend line and I cut that thing right in half, right? And while it's down here, it could fall all the way down. And while it's up here, it could shoot all the way up. But, I still try and pay attention to where it enters the triangle versus, you know, is it coming up or is it going down? But that's just following the greater trend, right? And look at this. There's no trend on this coin. There's no trend on this whatsoever. This is a risky coin. I am not betting the farm on this coin. I'm not going more than a you see, I say something like a few hundred, and people are like, "Oh, he's putting like 800 ducks." No, I'm putting like 200 in. I'm not betting the farm on this stuff. This is a shit coin. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fall in love with these coins if you like. They're gonna break your heart if you fall in love with these coins. But there's no reason not to have a few hundred of this around. If it's $1 right now, what if it goes to $30? What if it goes to $100? That's all I'm saying. All right, so that's it. I don't know what to say other than I'm happy right now. Before the ETF because I said I wanted to say, hey, it could drop, guys. 37K is still in play. None of this ETF this ETF is important, but and everybody's talking about buy and sell the news, and then all these other YouTubers that you really shouldn't have listened to are saying, oh, this ETF event is going to be the greatest thing. Traditional finance moves in the matter of months, right? Like a traditional company, the way that they use traditional finance is they will buy something on 90 days and then they will have 90 days for the payment for that transaction to go through, This isn't manufacturing anything like that. And part of the reason is because it takes like almost 2 weeks sometimes just to get your bank to pay. Lining up stuff. There's a whole industry, they give flash loans, right? So I want to buy something. I've got the money tied up in the bank. I'm not going to be able to get the money for a week, but I want this tomorrow. I want a flash loan. I'm going to take a flash loan. I'm going to buy 1 million of them, have them shipped today, and then I'll pay the loan off when my bank clears the cash. So all this stuff takes forever. And traditional finance didn't just all of a sudden when the ETF said, "Oh, now we're all experts in Bitcoin." Well, a lot of people are now experts in Bitcoin. A lot of people that haven't been trading very long, haven't lost very much money, and have no software development or idea. I don't know what to say. Good luck, guys. Don't buy courses. Go get free audiobooks from Amazon on trading with their 1 month free unlimited audiobooks. If you want to do that, go buy a real book on how to trade from somebody who is not on YouTube. Go buy a course book that's heavy on trading. Do something like that. You're going to learn more. You're going to have a better educational journey. I'm telling you that I lost that I'm in so much I'm underwater so much, however you want to say it, 20%, between 20 and 12% on all of the altcoins that I recently purchased. I'm telling you that because now is not the time to sweat it. We're no longer in a bear market. We're in the bull market right now. We're coming close to the end of the smart money phase also. So things are going to go up. But set your stop limits. You have your discipline now and don't lose money, right? Don't lose, because I didn't need to lose. When you get into 20%, that means that I could have lost 3% and then I could have bought back in while catching knives at 17% less than I sold at, which would have made basically, which would have, I would have gotten 14% more of those coins. That's a huge mistake, all because I felt I didn't have time to set stop limits and I would get to it in a couple hours. And then I didn't get to it for days. So, yeah, yeah. Stop limits are still the name of the game, even in a bull market. Trailing stop limits, yeah. All right, guys. Have a great one. What is today anyway? I don't even know. Today is Monday. When you go into work tomorrow, have a great day.